my background is actually very contemporary. But in the last few years, since I've worked on a lot of the islands and resorts and around many cultures, it's actually nice to sort of bring that mix in a little bit more. Mauritius was interesting. I mean, you come across things like 100% duty, so you have challenges like that. So what you tried to do is find whatever you could have made locally. So some things we would actually import from Africa or South Africa, and then we would actually find tradespeople that would have the talent in Mauritius to be able to make them. Another example was in another one and only project I did in the Maldives, and I'd actually visited this property. It was existing, it was 5 years old. One and Only had taken it over, and they needed to bring it basically up to One and Only standard. I had visited it in I guess it was in Thanksgiving, and then the tsunami hit. And so, unfortunately, luckily everyone on the island was safe and nobody got hurt, but we had rooms that were floating on the water. When the tsunami hit, it basically took all of the furniture and everything out, so the renovation became absolutely complete. What came out of this is actually there was a lot of driftwood that kept rolling up onto the beach, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful pieces of artwork, really. So they had local carpenters on the island, and we took a lot of these pieces, and I asked the owner if they could gather these, so they went out into boats and they would bring the driftwood in, and we made furniture out of it. So Mandarin Oriental is actually a chain that I've worked with quite often, and the first property I did for them was the one in Miami, and this is probably their first contemporary project. But here again, it's targeting your market in Miami. It's a city hotel rather than being in South Beach. The market that they were after was people on the island. It was on Brickell Key. You actually have a lot of people that have homes that are coming from South America. So they'll have an apartment there. They'll stay there, invite their friends and family, and be able to stay in the hotel. So you have that along with business, a lot of Latin population. So the challenge in that actually was bringing Asian culture with the Latin culture, and did it in a contemporary fashion. The hotel is actually very warm and rich in color. The way we detailed the hotel was very simple and Asian and understated, and people that walk into the lobby and in the rooms now come in and they just say it has this feeling of Zen. But the colors are very hot, and that was bringing in sort of the Latin influence. So we've got, bright oranges and reds and rich golds on marbles on the floor, and it's integrating these. The interesting thing is Mandarin, as an operator, does want you to think about the feng shui of a place. They didn't specify this at the beginning of the project, but they brought a feng shui master in afterwards. Luckily, everything in the interior is passed. The only problem was a bit of changing in the landscaping at the entrance of the hotel. But it's interesting to take that hotel afterwards, and I did a little bit of reading, sort of the feng shui for the Westerner after that, and put it to the map and location. And feng shui is something that's sort of instinctual. You can tell. You're sitting in a restaurant and you feel you're uncomfortable. Why? Well, you happen to be sitting with your back, and this is where the waiter is walking by with hot coffee. It feels uncomfortable. It's just really about the placement of objects and making people feel relaxed, feel good.